All right, everyone, we start off today with the latest witch hunt update. Of course, the witch hunt against Big Don. There is now a superseding indictment adding a new charge to Donald Trump, as well as naming one of his aides in the filing by Jack Murphy, of course. The new allegation is that Donald Trump did indeed show off the Iran document to various random people at several instances. Trump is countered by saying that recorded phone call that we do have is basically bravado, and he wasn't holding up such a document. We have no individual who was there who can attest to the fact that they saw anything classified. I'd point out, if Donald Trump simply waved around a classified document, it's not showing it to people unless he actually allows them to see what's in it. The classified header itself is not what's classified. It's the document contained inside the classified header. He says that it was just newspaper clippings and magazines and stuff like that, and he was hyperbolically referencing the Iran thing, of course. This particular attack line, this first one, there's another one which has to do with him allegedly, according to this aide, allegedly saying that he wanted the server scrubbed that had the footage of the Mar-a-Lago, the security footage. That would be more meat on the bones, I suppose. Of course, again, we've only got one individual attesting to the fact that that happened, and that person is under indictment separately. There's a reason that they might want to throw their boss under the bus because they know they can get a sweetheart deal. So I'm still skeptical. All you've got is a claim. You might have footage of that actual incident happening. That would definitely be more of a criminal case, but we'll wait and see. I think Trump knows where the cameras are in his own fucking resort, so I think that's doubtful. As though to the Iran paper charge, the problem with attempting to use this as a cudgel to punish Trump politically, the idea that this will sink Trump, DeSantis 24 because Trump clearly can't get elected, I don't think you're understanding. The background to this story is that this particular Iran document that nobody's seen since it's highly classified, by the way, effectively outlines plans for an attack on Iran. The problem is it was drawn up by Milley, and Trump rejected the concept. Americans therefore have to choose whether they care more about the document supposedly being waved around randomly to several people, or whether they care more about the fact that the deep state that was backstabbing Trump every step of the way wanted to attack the Iranians, and that a high-ranking general seriously considered the concept, and that Trump stopped World War III. I think that's score one for Trump myself. I see nothing wrong whatsoever with him having the document. We've got no evidence, again, other than a claim by one individual or several individuals that it was even preferred at any given time to other people. We have no further evidence that it was ever read by any of them. It was referenced, but we don't even know that that was the document that was being held up. It could have been a Time magazine cover for all we know. Therefore, much more damning is the concept that behind the scenes, a government that pretends that it wants diplomacy with Iran actively planned to attack them, seriously considered a preemptive strike on a nation that's at least got prototypical nuclear capabilities, although they don't have any nuclear weapons, and is squarely in the sphere of the Russians. It very likely would have caused World War III. At the very least, it would have caused a massive diplomatic problem, a prolonged proxy war, or direct war, in which the United States, I guess, parachutes tens of thousands of dudes into one side of Iran, and the Russians decide to Zerg rush the other side to save an ally, or something like that, and of course they can't fight one another directly without the risk of a nuclear exchange, so I guess you end up partitioning the Iranian people into two pieces. It would have been costly, it would have cost hundreds of thousands of lives as well, and it would have led to basically civil war and schism there. Wouldn't have stabilized anything. General Milley was responsible for offering that concept to Trump, and Trump turned him down. I don't see the fucking problem. What the hell is the problem? And here's my problem with all of the charges we're seeing against Trump. So Alvin Bragg's charges, Murphy's charges, forthcoming likely charges from Georgia. You now have, effectively 2.5 separate cases going on 3 at any given time. We're not sure exactly when they'll decide to put it back in the news cycle for their own political purposes. I'm supposed to believe, if I listen to the Uniparty, so if I listen to Biden's people and the TDS sufferers and stuff and all the corporations that think Orange Man bad, it's sort of like they want you to believe that a corny film has come to real life. So a bunch of supervillains were working together, because I know a lot of these people are sleazebags. I have evidence of this. I'm not going to be gaslit. I believe what I'm seeing and what I can observe myself and all of the various whistleblowers. I know Biden's crooked. I know the Clintons are crooked. I know the Bushes are crooked, etc., 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 on down the line. I know that they're all crooked. They admit that one another are crooked in the press, at least until the Orange Man period. Then they stop criticizing one another and focus solely on him. The film's plot goes like this, if I'm to believe the unipartyists. A bunch of criminals, crooks of various kinds, drug addicts and pimps and pedophiles and all sorts of other weirdos, warmongers, corporate cutthroats, the sort of people who chuckle as they kick a family out of their apartment on Christmas Eve. Those people were working together happily and being crooked happily. But then one particular crook got a little bit too uppity. And that crook was Donald Trump, and he went so far beyond that he was going to collapse the whole system. And how can we be crooked if he destroys our system? There will be nothing to be crooked about anymore. Everyone will die, something like that. You know, Trump will start World War III was a common claim back in 2016. It definitely seems, according to Milley himself, that the opposite was the case. It was Hillary, of course, that wanted to bomb Iran. Good friends with John McCain towards the end anyway. When I look at it, I'm supposed to believe that all the criminals and crooks decided, with tears in their eyes, they finally saw the light and realized that they wanted to preserve the democracy that they've had a hand in decimating over the course of many decades. Because one particular person was uniquely evil, uniquely insane. Or I can believe what I do believe, which is that Donald Trump genuinely wanted to reform that system, and that's why they're all partnering together. They're still sleazebags, they're still crooks, they're still propagandists and weirdos and perverts, and Donald Trump is the one that stood out and said, look, I'm getting old, I really want this ultimate title, which is president. Partially it was for egotistical purposes. I analyzed this back in the 2016 election. Don't think that Trump ain't in it for himself in part. But in order for him to truly gratify his ego, he has to do a good job. And so I think that he genuinely is trying to restore the republic. It's not perfect. He didn't do a perfect job before, and if reelected, he won't do a perfect job the second time. But he's trying, and he genuinely believes in that cause and that goal. I can believe that either he's uniquely evil, or I can believe that he is one standout who managed to hoodwink the system and get one over on them, and now they're pissed at him. They're mad because he sparked the conversation about populism in the population, which is why they then delved into even more censorship and propaganda. It's why they're constantly browbeating the public about the war on disinformation that needs to be waged to save democracy. Yes, we have to censor people to save the First Amendment. We have to violate the privacy to save the Fourth. We need to subjugate the states to save the 10th. And we need to make sure that we have a monkey trial here in order to save the right to a fair trial. Our Constitution and democracy will fall unless we persecute people. That's basically what they're telling me. No thanks. No way, Jose. I don't believe that claim. I think it's full of shit. When I look at this, the only thing that I see here that would be criminally, criminal in any way and that I would actually care about is if Trump said scrub the security footage. But I've only got the claim of one person, and that person is probably seeking a plea deal right now. But Orange Man bad. As long as you throw Orange Man under the bus and make your claim so that Jack Murphy can have a field day in a court of law, you're fine. Oh, well, you know, he was just acting under orders and he didn't scrub the server in the end. We don't have any proof that Trump ever actually commanded that to happen anyway, but he's making the claim. We'll give you probation. We'll give you 2 weeks in the county jail. Oh, you have to pay a little bit of a fine, you know. You're not like, please, you have to make a public apology or something like that. That's what they're doing. It's kangaroo court. Can't you see this? By the way, I think that this backfires because, again, they're now bringing up this specific document that gives Trump the perfect fodder to come out on a stage and say, look, they wanted me to attack Iran, causing World War III and possibly the annihilation of our entire country, and I said no. And other people, Joe Biden, might not have said no. Well, that would be an interesting campaign line, now wouldn't it be? And effectively, the prosecution would be proving that that's actually true. It wouldn't even be like a half-truth or something like politicians normally tell. We'd have corroboration in a court of law that that was the case. I'm sorry, but all I see is a witch hunt here. More and more witch hunt is coming. That's about all. Peace out.